I help people with their breakups. And today, we got a gem of a show. Why dating in 2022 has never been better. I just recently had it come up in my feed that there's a video why dating is ruined in 2022. I'm going to counter that argument first and foremost. We'll review that video from Pearl from Pearly Things, which the video statements are highly generalized. And there's just a lot of people buying into this narrative that 2022 and right now dating's just fucked. It's just there's no chance, there's no opportunities. Everyone's on board for this. Skinner, what's going on? How you doing, bro? And I'm just getting tired of it. I don't understand what's the premise. If you had a bad date, a bad relationship, you've had a couple bad dates, and then you turn it into like all dating's ruined in 2022, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous because it's just one moment, it's just one situation, and these narratives on these channels, all they're doing is they're spoon feeding you guys this, and then you find a way to, oh my God, this is so true. This is why she doesn't like me. This is why he hasn't called me back. The reality is just one person. It's just one person that's not interested in you, and then you want to find a reason and globalize it and generalize the hell out of it that all men and all women are like this, and it's just one case. Human beings are highly individually nuanced. This whole idea that men are like this, women are like that, okay, to a certain level, but the reason someone doesn't like you is not that simple as maybe you just don't have money or you're not 6 feet. This whole narrative that's going around now, it's ridiculous. I'm just tired of it. Right? The people that do really good with dating, B's on deck today. Just off the top of your head, out of nowhere, we didn't discuss this particular question, but the people that you've known over your lifetime, and let me just say this really quick for the people in the cheap seats. I'm not talking about movies. Okay? I'm talking about people you know. I'm not talking about research studies that you never YouTube. 80% to 90% of people, where's the study? The study's never being shown. There's studies for everything. Well, 80% of people get divorced over this. Where's the guts of the study, right? So just go on the people that you've known in your life, B, right now, right? Guys that have been good at dating or getting women or having options. What do you think it is? What do you think the magic spice is? That they're over 6 feet tall?
No, just the confidence for sure. I think that's the number one thing.
Confidence. Okay, so do they have confidence in everything they do, these individuals? If you think about
everything, but definitely they have a confidence with women in particular, obviously if they're dating, but that's just, for what I've noticed, you know what I mean?
That's it. It's just confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence with women or confidence in their life or?
Yeah, probably. I would say probably both, but more along lines of like just dating and stuff. I would say that they're just really confident with women.
And so it has nothing to do with height?
No.
Money?
That might add to confidence somewhat. I don't think that really matters too much. It depends on where you are in your life, but
all right. So this narrative though that women are going after this is I can't believe I'm even using this Chad and Tyrone narrative you've heard about, because we're going to review a video about this.
Okay.
Do you ever think about this has just been created? This is a narrative that Chad and Tyrone are actually representative of guys that are really good looking, right? Mm-hmm. That it's easy for them to get women and women throw themselves at these guys. Mm-hmm. Is that the narrative?
I think so, yeah.
Right? So this is just something that's just been created recently.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much just been
and then
created,
people just use it in their videos like it's truth. It's not even true. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at one of your friends, you talked about one of your friends, family, or colleagues that you said have been good with women, when you think it's the core part of its confidence. Okay, fine.
Because I look at that, the opposite of that, and the ones that aren't, that I've noticed, they're just...
Is the confidence from their looks?
No, not necessarily. I've known, I've had a few different friends that for different reasons are confident, in their life. Like you said, it might be other things that they're confident, and that just might like translate over into just with women in general. But yeah, like the ones that I've noticed that aren't confident probably don't pull as many women for that reason.
So I have some things here that I just bullet pointed out. I got it in the comment feed. I'm just going to go through these things. And it's kind of funny because this has just been coming up more and more with clients, because I deal primarily with breakups, relationships, and I always tell people, I'll help you out with dating. A lot of the clients that I have, sometimes they've read all the books on attraction, they know all these things, and so they're going to be fine post breakup dating when they just get over their breakup,
right,
or their issues, or what happened. That's why you got to write your story out and get clear on that, get some clarity going into your next relationship. But there's a narrative why dating is ruined in 2022, which is a video I'm going to review in a moment, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you're complaining about dating, don't watch a video of why dating is ruined in 2022, because you just built a case so you can sit at home and complain and whine and watch 10,000 videos supporting why you're not good with women or why you're not good with dating. So you're not taking any responsibility that maybe you're not at your best, maybe your confidence is low, maybe you're not extra, you know what I mean? There's no chance. And the reality is like, gotta put my AC on. The reality is that how many times have you met some guy and you're like, damn, good for you? Or if you're in the negative state, like, oh, he just got lucky.
That's true.
He just got like she won't stay with him. You can really know where someone's at when they look at something, right?
Right.
Like she's not going to stick around with him, or vice versa, right? I ever meet a guy and he's appears to have done really well, and from the outside you're like, wow, good for you, because I'm in a really good place in my life. I feel fine with that. I'm not threatened by that. But why is dating ruined in 2020? Why would you watch this video? Why would you? Now think about this for a minute. If this came up in your feed, would you want to watch this?
Ah, man.
Why dating is ruined in 2022. Now, here, keep in mind one thing. Content is part of programming you now in your life. So you watch the full 10-minute video, you're going to come away and you're going to go, oh, now I have some excuses in my back pocket.
I was just going to, yeah.
Right? So you like golf, right? Mm-hmm. You've pursued golf professionally, right? Why golf's never been worse to play in 2022. And you're like, is that going to fucking help you be a better golf player?
Nah.
Would it do anything for you? No. And then you're going to have some seeds planted, like whenever you have a bad game of golf, oh shit, man, you know what? It's never been worse in 2022, according to this YouTube idiot that's got 400,000 views or 400,000 subscribers just for racy titles.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So I'm going to go through this really quick. Why dating has never been better. How about this one? Pause for a moment. COVID's over. I don't know. That's been the narrative for 2-3 years, which was actually a pretty good one. If someone had to complain, they're like, look, dating hasn't been really good. We've been, meeting for movies online. It's like, wow, right?
Yeah.
So right. That one was like a credible reason why dating was really down. You can't meet in person. You're not working. I mean, that one, you got me. If you were like, yeah, where we live, we had to stay in our apartment 24/7 for 3 months. All right. And everyone's in a bad mood, right? No one's happy staying home or not getting as much money. I will say this again, let me retract so I don't generalize. There are some people out there that I've met and I've known, especially people that like to play video games, homebodies, hermits. Not even saying that in a negative way, even though it sounds negative, but they were like, oh, it was cool, right? So there are some people out there that were like, oh, cool, I like to stay home. Is it good for dating? No. So COVID's over, so let's just rally cry on that one time, please, right? So that helps. How about this one? If you're on YouTube, you watched over 100 videos on attraction dynamics and now get it. There's never been more of an opportunity. Would you agree about this? There's never been an easier opportunity than now to understand attraction dynamics. So let's say you didn't grow up with it. Let's say you didn't grow up with your dad around. Your parents had a dysfunctional relationship. You can go online and this is what you look for, okay? How do I know when a girl's attracted to me? How do I, what's a good first date? These are things that are actually like, if you get one or two good tips out of this is going to counter why dating is ruined in 2022. You get me? Mm-hmm. You've watched some of these videos, right, B? It's human, right? A lot of them are the same stuff.
just regurgitated.
Right. Like, I don't know, eye contact, these things. So you've watched 100 of these videos because you're not good at it, and then you understand it. I remember in my late 20s, coming out of the bad breakup. That was the first time I ever reviewed anything on attraction. I never read a book about dating. I never looked into anything like that.
Honestly, yeah. That's
in your 20s. Did you ever look into anything?
Never.
And I wasn't a maestro or anything like that. I had girls like me. I had relationships. I had hookups, things like that. I wouldn't say I was a pickup artist or anything, but I never reviewed anything on attraction.
But that's what usually does it, right? Like a bad breakup or something, right?
Well, no. 10 years ago, social media and YouTube has just elevated to where you just ask a question, you can get umpteen data on it, right?
So that's where it becomes difficult.
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, I have clients that come to me that have bad breakups, that have bad situations. I'm like, I don't need to coach you on dating or attraction. You already know about that. I can just tell by the way that being in a relationship is much different than attracting a woman dating wise. Right? So a lot of confidence, you said confidence is a big one. So there's, have this neutral centered stature. But a lot of confidence, if you have confidence in women, you could take it or leave it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You're like, if you don't like me, I don't give a fuck because I have other options.
I was going to say that. I think it kind of goes hand in hand. But if you have other options, you're really just not worried about if this date doesn't work.
That's
cool,
the ultimate confidence, right?
That's what I was kind of getting at.
So that confidence of being that way, you'll never watch a video like why dating is ruined in 2022. You wouldn't, if you're in that mode, you're like, it's not ruined for me. Now, I'm not saying to take it to an overcompensation level where, like I said, you think you're above
better,
everyone.
Yeah, you're better now.
You just don't. It just doesn't bother you.
Right.
Just like a professional basketball player that misses 20 shots and is a top 5 player in the league.
Or known as a shooter, and he misses all of his free.
Right.
He's going to still shoot.
You're a golfer, right? So you go out and golf and you have a horrible game, and then you're going to go, why golfing is ruined in 2022? It's like, what? Oh, the weather. And here's the thing. You can make a case for any of this crap. You can make a case why dating is ruined in 2022. And here's the crazy thing. It's so close-minded. It doesn't come back to what you want. Here's the thing. People that have this narrative, that's what they want to believe. Why do they want to believe it? Because they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be rejected. And they want a reason that they're single, they're upset, right? And what they don't realize is they're just going to feed the beast over and over again. And all the while, it's like, oh, yeah, this is true. Oh, yeah, this is true. And now they got females on their side. Like, yeah, this is why it's ruined for you guys. It's really ruined for you guys. This is not represent. This is one thing. We got 4 on deck right now. Tell me I'm wrong on this. I'm telling you right now, when people start doing all men do this, all women do this, in the name of who? You? Well, men do this, women do this. I even catch myself. This is what I think. I, based on my experiences, based on me being a breakup coach for years, based on talking to a lot of different people. This is my experience. It's not absolute. But there's some people out there just like, oh, all men do this. It's like, no, dude. Right? It's like telling everyone that your favorite food is pepperoni pizza and going, everyone likes pepperoni pizza. Actually, there's some people out there that don't like it. You know what I mean? So it just goes on and on. Next one. All right, so why dating has never been better. You read Corey Wayne's 3% Man 15 times. B's a little like, what? Because this is a very famous book. He tells people to read it 15 times. And I'm going to tell you guys the truth right now. Clients of mine that have read it 10 to 15 times, they're very good with dating. It's a solution-based book. It's simplistic. It's not very academic at all, which is good for a lot of people. There's not a lot of studies in it or anything like that. And it helps guys, dating-wise. Relationships are different. It's not to take anything away from the book. For dating, it gives them a nice structure. So you read the book, 15 times. So now you have a template for dating that works for some people. I was half joking, half serious when I said that. You learned from your past breakups why dating has never been better. You've learned something. You know what you want and you believe you deserve it. Now, here's a big one. You talk about confidence. So This is probably the biggest one that gets lost in the shuffle. Before you start dating, when you're single, do you sit down, journal out, regard, think about it? What do I really want here? Do you deserve it? Or do you think you're below it because you're too fat, or you don't make enough money, or you're not 6 feet tall, or because you watched a video that said why dating is ruined in 2022? It's ridiculous. Okay? You've never looked better. Now, you might say, well, that's not true. I was in great shape when I was 20. Why don't you get back there? Take 6 months in a year. By the way, 2022 has never been a better year for fitness. I'll tell you why. There's a bunch of YouTube videos on it for free. When I was a kid, you had to go to the library for information. You had to go to the library to get information. You couldn't just like punch in something. So if you want to get in really good shape, there's a bunch of diets, there's a bunch of routines, there's calisthenics, there's umpteen videos. It's never been a better time.
Oh, you can go online on YouTube and find
there's never
videos. Yeah.
There's never been a better time to educate yourself on being a better person at dating. So if you say nah, I can't say I've never looked better. Well, you could get there, right? I mean, you could get there if you don't feel that. My point is, instead of searching videos why dating is ruined in 2022, I would say, like, how can I look my best? That would be a good one to go with. Right? Your money is right. Now, this isn't a requirement for dating. Right? But if you've never been better, these are the things that are going to add up. So if your money's not right, look up a video about that. Why dating is ruined in 2022 is just going to make you more ruined. Now, here's a big one. You don't let generalizations about men and women cloud your perspective. I wrote perspective. This is just the worst problem right now. There's all these individuals imprinting their views, and someone goes, oh my God, Todd Jones has 200,000 subscribers. He knows what he's talking about. No, he's just telling you what he would do, or playing on a narrative or storyline where someone out there isn't looking their best, doesn't feel good about themselves. Instead of looking in the mirror and going, fuck, I need to fucking work on myself. David Goggins type shit. Right? Instead of doing that, they go, oh, let me look up why dating is ruined in 2022 so I can support my negligence of myself. Okay? Think about that for a minute. How does that resonate with you? Right? That's if you really are going out there, it's like, why is dating ruined in 2020? Fuck, man. Make it true. Pour it on. Good for you. You take advice only from those you admire or believe have similar goals. So if you see someone on YouTube, you see someone that's a friend, family, or colleague, and you're like, hey, man, what's going on with this dating game? Don't go to someone else that's dating sucks. All women suck. My wife left me. Don't go to them for advice. Right? I think that's why a lot of people like Corey Wayne. He seems to walk the walk. He seems like he's in a good mood, a good state. He's solution-based, right? Like, what do you have going for you? This is a big problem. Do you have anything to add why dating has never been better in 2022, B?
No, what you said sounds pretty good.
Excellent response.
Sounds pretty good.
I mean, let's ask you a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just say you're single. Mm-hmm. You've been out of the game for a little while. Mm-hmm. Let's just hypothetical, right? You're a little rusty. You have a couple altercations on one of these dating apps where, you like the girl, she kind of cold shouldered you, ghosted you, whatever.
Right.
And you're like kind of like feeling a little bit out of it. Mm-hmm. What do you go to on YouTube for advice? Why dating is ruined in 2022? Or what would you?
I would definitely not do that. One. I don't even know. I'm probably just like, just if I was in that situation, maybe dating advice, or I don't know, not why it's ruined.
Right. So who makes who are these videos made for? I have friends that watch them and they send them to me.
Probably people that have trouble dating, that are like maybe not in the right space, and they're trying to get people on their team, like this team, whatever it's Red Pill or whatever it is. They want people to be.
You know what it reminds me of is, again, because I always go to sports, and you're a sports guy too, right? Mm-hmm. That's right? You played basketball, I played basketball, so we'll go there.
Sure.
It's like, game's not fair. The ref's friends with the other team. Mm-hmm. Still got to play the game. Mm-hmm. right?
Right.
They got a kid on the team that's 2 years older than everyone else. We're in high school, right? You've heard that one before, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, man, he's 18 and we're playing with 14-year-olds. What's going on here, right? It's unfair. Mm-hmm. It's one game. It can be an unfair game, right? Like there's times where you're like, fuck, the ref didn't even blow the whistle. Well, that's when I'll foul more. I remember playing in a rec league one time, and it was like the last game. So there's like 4 games at night, and this ref just didn't like.
He was waiting to go home.
Yeah, he just wasn't blowing the whistle, man. It was just like foul. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just played more physical, and the other team's like, you play more physical. You're like, no fouls being called, so I better play more physical rather than complain. Oh my God, the ref's not making any. Well, if he's not going to make any calls, I'll make sure I'll get my money's worth. Does that make sense? It's like when you're going into this dating thing and you're like, oh it's just ruined in build a case of why it's not ruined. Build your own case of like, why is 2022 actually an opportunity to be dating? Number one, COVID's over. Number two, there's never been more dating apps. There's never been more knowledge on attraction
available to you.
Yeah. Never. There wasn't books around 15 years ago that were popular that were on attraction. That were available on Audible, on all these things. Never. But now you got these videos. It's like, yeah, see, this is the translation when you watch a Why Dating is Ruined in 2022 and you like it and you're like, yeah, this is exactly what I needed to hear. This is exactly what. No, this is just so you can feel better about not trying, not making the changes, not making an effort. The reality is bad dates are going to happen. Rejection's going to happen. You're going to meet individuals that don't line up with you, that upset you, that are pretentious, that are part of the times, that are all these things. And you can, when I review this Why Dating is Ruined in 2020, you can make this true.
And that's okay, by the way. Like, go on bad dates, and that's fine.
Bad dates have great stories.
Right.
My best stories come from bad dates sometimes, right? It's fine. It's like, afterwards, what's the big deal? You act like this is your only chance. You have to really assess. If you really put your mind to anything, including dating, you can make it work for you. But the problem is getting rejected 5-10 times. Or someone saying, I didn't get what I wanted. I really liked her, but she didn't like me. And then it's, oh, you know what? She's so pretentious. Oh, she's so that. No, she's just not interested.
Right.
Just not interested. There's no video or there's nothing you're going to do that's going to change that. But then you watch Why Dating is Ruined in 2022 from Pearl and Pearly Things, and you go, oh, here it is. She's right.
Well, it's just going to start you down this path.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You can. Here's the thing. The people that are good at dating, they're not all Chads and Tyrones. That's total bullshit. And that's just a made up story. That's the equivalent of Disney. Someone's made up a storyline with names and characters, and everyone's like, oh yeah, this is just a story people are telling. Oh, all the Chads get all the women. It's like, what? Have you ever felt like that there's, good looking women and good looking men that get more attention? And why would you, the funny thing about that is, doing what I do and talking to so many different people and breakups, they're hurt too. They have all kinds of things about the people that are really good looking. They have their own insecurities, their own problems.
For sure.
They mess up relationships with things they say.
For sure.
They never, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of little different things. So you just assume that this is what happens all the time. Give me a break. Give me a break. Let me know in the chat. You guys ready to watch this Why Dating is Ruined in 2022 with me? I'm going to see if I can get 9 or 10 on, but let me know in the chat if you guys are with this. This is Why Dating is Ruined in 2022. And if you before we get started, anyone in the chat, please let me know. Do you think dating is ruined in 2022 or anywhere near? And do you think looking at it this way is going to help you in any way? And I'm a skeptic. I would say that I'm a person that can be negative at some points, a lot. I'm not Joe positive all the time, like all the time at all. But this idea that you're gonna go and relate to someone's why dating is ruined in 2022 and then think, oh, you're gonna get different results from that. You're programming yourself to ruin dating for yourself. That's what you're doing. That's all it is. That's all it is. And you have some kind of limited belief there that you're getting fed. That's all it is. All right, let's take a look at this video. Hold on one sec here. I was appalled when I saw this video. I was like, are you guys serious? Do people really? In the comments too, it's like people are like, yeah, let's get behind why dating is ruined. See, it's a master class she's teaching. This is, you look at your face, your mouth just opened. This is a master class.
Oh wow.
Now, consider the source here on this. Brian Union, it's been a while, man. How are you? People are dating with past trauma.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, you know, not all of them, but yeah, sometimes, yeah. But this narrative, why dating is ruined. Do not watch this kind of stuff unless you're gonna watch it with me on this live stream right now to just pick it apart. But I mean, and also myself included, consider the source. I mean, what is this regurgitated narrative for views? This is a woman talking like this, right? This is a woman talking like this about dating and supporting men that are not, that dating is ruined in 2022. Does anyone on the live stream right now feel like dating is ruined in 2022? Now, if you said, here's the thing, if you said the great brand new Skinner who's on deck right now, who's from Chicago, if he was like, dating's ruined in Chicago, I believe he's from Chicago. It's like he'd have some insight on that because he lives in Chicago, and then you could go a little deeper. You can go a little deeper.
Yeah.
It's like all dating's ruined in 2022. Come on. Now, we got 8 on deck. I really want to hear some feedback. I'm going to stop in between her points here. But this is kind of one of those things that's just becoming a pet peeve in this space because a lot of young guys are watching this, and it's just like 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. They get rejected, and they go, yeah, see,
women are like this, and no.
Do you think, I mean, side note to this, do you think Pearl's getting pursued quite a bit? Is she one of the, like, what is, it would be great to ask, instead of these generalizations, men are this, women are that. I'd just like to get Pearl's, you know, like, what's your experience with dating, Pearl? Like, what have you gone through? This is why I always tell people, send your story into writemac.com. Your unique story, your unique situation actually counts. You identifying with all dating class is ignorance. All right, let's get into it. Oh.
Yeah, so I Pearly things you.
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Today, I'm having classes for my friend Jess.
Yes.
Would you say you're like half red pill?
I say I'm half red pill.
Yeah. So I'm giving her some lessons just in life. Make sure you pay attention, class. And my producer, blessing, he's camera shy, but he's been telling me, right? You've been doing good? Yeah, he said he's the man of his house now.
Oh, is he now? Good for him.
Anyway, so today's lesson is why dating is ruined in 2022.
Dang.
Okay, so
Ruined.
Ruined.
You think it ever could come back?
No, the marriage rates have plummeted.
Oh Lord.
Plummeted. They're
Jesus.
lower than ever in human history.
Human history.
Well, that's a bold statement. Maybe, in the past
10
500 years.
Anyway, human history.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine in the Stone Age it was probably lower.
I don't know.
But look, okay. Look, that's not the point. So this all started in the 1950s with this led to hoes. Before the 1960s, 50s, roughly, you know.
All right, so here's point number 1 from the great Pearl of Pearly Things. And just a side note, would you like to date her?
Personally?
Yeah, B, would you ask her out?
She's not my type.
Okay.
I'll just leave it at that.
All right. So, 1960s, birth control created hoes.
Okay.
How many women have you actually thought were a certified hoe? Have you called like? There's a joke. I would love to get you on camera. Your face. Like you're just like she's really a hoe. You know, it's in songs. It's like it's kind of a joke term.
Yeah.
But like, have you ever thought of someone like she's just a hoe?
Maybe in high school, to be honest, like.
Which looking back,
Yeah.
you're like, I wouldn't say that to her now because
No. But I mean, just probably high school last.
isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
that. So 1960s birth control created hoes. Wow. So here's a general statement, right? Someone's gonna go, yeah, this is why it's ruined in 2022 for dating. There was hoes created in birth control days. Wow, great point, man. Great. And I think he said, Rob is like, is this being serious or is this humor? What's your view? I think she's being serious.
No, she's being serious.
I think she's being serious. This is her narrative.
Yeah.
This is her narrative. She's got random stats that she's going to be like 80 to 90% of people are this or that. So stay tuned.
And I don't even know. I think she's acting in good faith. Maybe she like really believes the stuff that she's saying. I really don't know, but
Watch this.
I don't. This is just a rough, you know. Women couldn't really be hoes at the same rate. Like, because if you slept with dude, he might get you pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So back then, you had to prioritize a man that was a provider, loyal, all around just the good guys, the so-called nice guys. Okay, that was what you had to prioritize, because if you didn't, you would be because no nice guy equals baby mama. So back then, baby mama was actually, you should be ashamed if you're a baby mama. That was like the worst thing you could do. If you slept with more than like 2 people, you a hoe.
Slut.
Oh, blessing.
Nice jargon being used here, huh? She's really street. Look at her outfit, her like posture. You okay, yeah, okay, right. So Rob, I was thinking she was serious at first, but I think you might be right. There might be a little sense of humor here. The idea that, you know, in the 60s women had to or have to get a provider, loyal or good guy is just complete bullshit. I would say that there's plenty of women out there that were with bad guys or had kids out of wedlock, right? I'm sure that's happened. And that women were, you know, I'm not going to be a single baby mama idea wasn't out there. There was still divorces going on, separations, people breaking up, right? Is it at the rate it is now? No, but the population's much higher, right? So this idea that women had to find a provider, a loyal and good guy, probably in certain communities, and the narrative, let me just add this whole narrative thing out there. Leave It to Beaver, Dennis to Menace, these old school shows that I watched on Nickelodeon as a kid, they push this, right? I don't know if the dads were always nice guys, though. They were kind of more tough.
like working.
Yeah, but the jobs are different, right?
Yeah,
like a male would have a job that was more hands-on or right, and those kinds of things. I mean, they also had them sleep in separate beds on the TV shows too. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, is that true? No. I'm sure there was, some things going on, right? Prostitution's been around since the beginning of time. Strip clubs have been around probably since the beginning of time, right? So let's get back into this.
How does a girl sound with a 2 as a body count nowadays?
He said it's a blessing.
The men pray for 2 because before the 60s, women couldn't be hoes at the same rate. So back then, the fathers were involved, the brothers, and they would vet the guy. They would say, is this guy good enough to screw my daughter? Yeah, right? And so they make sure he's a provider, loyal, good guy. The problem is women may be attracted to a good guy, but we're not aroused by the good guys, okay? So when we, as women, when the hoes got the opportunity to be the hoes, they started banging. They called them, all right, Chads, Tyrone. Now, who is Chad and Tyrone? He's the guy your girl thinks about even when you're married to her. I'm sorry, fellas.
Dang, Tyrone.
Shout out Chad. Shout out Tyrone.
Shout out. You know who you are, Chad and Tyrone.
6 foot, 6 figures, 6 inches.
6 foot, 6 figures, 6 inches. Wow. I wonder what Pearl's body count is. I'm just curious if she would reveal that. No clue, huh?
No clue.
This is a whole new narrative. This has never been around. This has only been like 5 to 6 years, and people don't even know it's a narrative. They think it's a reality because there's some kind of research about these dating apps and what people are looking for. But it's just the amount of clients I have now that are like, dude, I'm 5'8". It's like, what? Why are we being so dramatic that you're 5'8"? Because they just buy this. There's another client of mine that was talking about a penis enlargement device that's highly expensive. That he was, because possibly he's not in the 6-inch club, I guess. These kinds of things, it's like, this is just a narrative, man. And I wonder if it's because there's some people, this is maybe a theory that I have, that there's a lot of guys out there because of social media and porn that are desiring women that are probably, I never say anyone's out of your league, but if you believe they're out of your league, then they're out of your league.
Right.
You just smiled right there, but
no,
you know exactly what you mean, right? Yeah. Like reality wise, you're like, I would never have a chance with her or even approach her. But here's the thing, here's how you could just blow this whole 6 foot, 6 figures, 6 inches, right? What if you just have one of them? Right? A lot of one of them. I'm 6'5", but I'm broke. Right? There's nuance to this, right? It's like there's a lot of short. Tom Cruise is like 5'5" or 5'6", I think. He's really short.
Yeah, he's pretty short.
Right? And he's gonna have no problem, right? Because he's got riches and a career and all this, whatever. So this Chad Tyrone thing, this 6'6", it's just not even. It's just a made up narrative. And a narrative is just a storyline that people buy into because they want to. And then she does a clever thing like this, and it like I said, I'm starting to think that maybe this is more humor than serious. I thought she was serious at first, but
well, it kind of goes along with her channel that the few videos that we've seen, right? Kind of goes along the same narrative. So I think what she's saying is like she really believes it, but she's trying to be funny too. You know what I mean?
These are the tall men. These are the men that all the women want. Now, sometimes when girls are in their younger years, they might even, overlook the 6 figures if he's 6 foot, 6 inches, muscle, good looking guy. Now, is this the same type of husband that they were looking for before, Jess?
No.
Not the provider. So what did this lead to? Let me put a red just to, what did Chad and Tyrone lead to? Baby mamas. Baby mamas. Did she tell you about her toxic baby daddy? You've heard the girls on the show say that? Chad, Tyrone.
That's who they are.
anyways, so on top of that, what happened next? So that was the beginning. Basically, birth control gave women the ability to sleep around. Okay, that's phase one of, dating going to shit. Phase two, no fault divorce. So not only could the women screw the Chads and Tyrones, the wives could screw the Chads and Tyrones. Now, these are the girls that are 4s, 5s, 6, and 7. They're sleeping with Chads, Tyrones. Don't matter if they're married or not. They don't care.
They don't.
You can't trust.
This is where the narrative just gets lost, right? Okay, so Chads and Tyrones are like 9s and 10s on looks, or the high value thing, whatever. Okay, so if I'm going to spin this narrative, but they're going to hook up with 4, 5s, and 6s. That doesn't equate, and they're going to automatically create baby mamas, right? Like that doesn't equate. Like, why would the guy that's a 10 go out with 4 or 5s just for sport? There's some that would, maybe. So this is like where Rob's like, where's this going? 4, 5, 6 don't care. My point is, these are videos that are very popular right now, these narratives. And after we watch this video, we'll go into the comments and how many people are in strong support of this narrative, right? And I'm just saying, what do you really want? Some people enjoy negative narratives to support their outcomes. And so, like I said, this could be just a funny spoof now that I look at it, but I think she thinks that this is true, or is she just trying to get views? That's an interesting thing right now, because the polarizing term of this, but if you go into the comments, there's an overwhelming amount of people that are like, oh my God, this is so true. I would never want to date these days. Like, dating so messed up, dating so trash, dating so messed up. She basically going over typical standard theories that are often spoken of on plenty of red pill YouTube videos. Heard all of this before. My point is, yeah, it's getting regurgitated, but there's people out there that like strongly support that this is all true, right? That this is, and by the way, if you're going to use the term hoe over and over again, it would be really interesting. What do you qualify as a hoe? Is it 10? She's been with 10 guys or 20? Like, yeah. How do you get that qualification in the Webster's dictionary be?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, she's just a hoe.
Mm-hmm. According to her, it's more than
I would say, though, to be at that level, you're just like, don't bring her around your friends, like, and have drinks, right? But I mean, who's to even clarify an opinionated thing like that? Now, maybe I'm being too serious about this. Maybe it's all a joke. Like Rob's like, I've heard this all before. This is being spread wide and far. Now, the interesting thing about her doing this is usually it's a certain segment of guys.
It's usually, right?
So she's agreeing with it for what? Do you think she's doing it for views, or she really believes it? That's a good question. Be looking at her right now.
I mean, obviously I don't know, because I don't know her, but I would say probably there's like a mix of both. Maybe she does believe a little bit, but she's got to be doing some of it for views. I mean, come on.
All right. She's presenting that normally men talk about. Okay, so let's just see here.
These hoes.
These hoes ain't loyal.
And so what they would do is the government granted women the ability to leave. And leave we did. Leave we did. That is when the combination, the number, if you look at, I'm going to have Blessing pull up, like, ding, the chart. But when the rate of women on birth control increased, marriage decreased, divorce increased. And then before, it was a big deal to get a divorce. Now women, like it was actually pretty hard. Now women can leave whenever they want. They can just, and go screw the Chads and Tyrones. The next thing that happened, before the 1960s, before birth control, the other issue was if a woman left her husband or made poor decisions, she would be homeless. If she screwed everyone in the town, nobody would want to date her after.
All right, so assuming everyone lives in the Salem witch trials, I don't think that's true at all. That women would be homeless if they were manless or they were a single mom. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that gets thrown out and someone's like, yeah, it's true. Yeah, some women call their first marriage a starter marriage. It's like, has marriage been less devout over the last 100 years? Now, here's the thing. Talk to a lot of people, and when I talk to people in breakups, I often will ask them, how is your parents' relationship? Right? And I've talked to people from 22 to 55 to 60s, whatever.
Well, plus too, I think if we're gonna just talk in, U.S. society, like we become way less religious.
But here's what I'm gonna say, and this is just my point of view, and people might not vibe with it. Grandma and grandpa's generation, for me, which is like early, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, they just had to concentrate on getting by. There was no distractions. It was, they didn't even have TV when they grew up. Think about that. They had a radio. There was no distractions, right? But those with the ability to mess around, like kings and queens and presidents and famous people, they all fucked around. They all did. It was just kept a secret.
JFK.
Right. I mean, I think Franklin Roosevelt, who's an absolute legend, he had 4 terms, right? I think he was fucking around.
Martin Luther King.
Yes. I've told that to someone before, and they're like, "Oh, Martin." They looked it up right away on Google. Like, Martin Luther King would never do that. It's like, it's out there. So the idea that cheating just started after the pill is absolutely ridiculous. I'll tell you what's different. People stayed married but still cheated. So what's better? What's worse? Staying married in a relationship where people are checked out or they just stop having sex, or people are like, you know what, instead of staying in this marriage that I'm miserable in, which a lot of people are. And to be honest with you, in certain walks of life, certain areas, the way society's going with salaries and living alone and different things, for some people, marriage is hard for them to get on. Like I've talked about this before, there's not really an alternative. But this idea that, everyone before birth control was not screwing around or having affairs is absolutely ridiculous. It was just probably more well kept, and they probably didn't go to divorce as quickly. They would just deal with their stuff better. That's the thing. But this has been going on since the beginning of time. I mean, people talk about the animal kingdom. The whole animal kingdom is not monogamous. Only penguins, right? I think it's penguins and something else.
I never knew that it was only penguins.
It's only penguins. There's like one other there's no other part. And I would venture to say, are humans naturally monogamous? You're shaking your head. No, they're not. I don't think they're naturally monogamous. I think it's in the spirit of taking care of your kids and your family.
It's a sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice, sure. And it's something that you want to do and support them, but it's definitely not backed by nature.
Now we have the incoming simps. People that marry baby moms. She's got 2 kids from 2 different dads. Who cares? Let's just marry her. So y'all started bailing them out. And if the simps didn't bail them out, right, if bail out the baby mamas, the next thing would be the government. So in the 1960s, that is when you see, in the UK, it's free housing for single mothers.
Oh, wow.
And yep.
So anyone that goes with a single mom's a simp. And incoming simps. Right? It's just like this is a whole show, and like I said, there's a whole second half to this actually, right? Why dating is ruined in 2022. And the comments are like, thank you for speaking up. Like seriously. Like, thanks for sharing this with everyone as a woman. More guys should know about this kind of a thing. I swear, if we go through the comments,
Yeah.
right? They're like, it's not like people are slapping high fives and laughing about it. Like, we're kind of like playing with this a little bit.
Right.
They're like, no, this is a serious epidemic.
Okay.
Seriously.
In the U.S., it's just a bunch of programs, and it depends on the state, right? But in a lot of states, you know, free shit. It's like
A classic case. It's in some states there's free shit that's like given, and then like it's like, what? You make a statement like this that all single moms are being taken care of. By the way, let's just play a little game here. That there's some single moms out there that have been dealt a bad set of cards.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying all. I'm just saying, like, the way she's presenting this, ha ha ha. Simps only take care of single moms, ha ha ha. And the government takes care. So what do we, like, is that a bad process? By the way, there's some women that could have got cheated on. There's some women that their husband could have died or had an ailment. There's all kinds of things. The husband could have never came back. It's not saying that happens all the time. But you're just spinning this one side of it as if you have no compassion or empathy for any of these women, and their situations are all different. If you lined up 100 women that are single moms, right, and you heard their stories, there's probably some of them you'd be like, well, you made your own bed, hon. Like,
that would fit her.
Right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Some of these states and these organizations that help out, who's going to take care of the kids? Is it wrong or right? I don't know if that's a bad thing, right? Now, some people are going to get into politics, but if you had 100 of them line up, there would probably be a couple of the stories, if not 15, 20, that would touch your heartstrings.
And what are you supposed to do with?
And you're making a video how, all single women end up with simps, ha ha ha. Now, here's the thing about simps. If a guy wants to be a simp, and that's his prerogative, and that makes him happy, and he takes care of 2 kids that don't have a parent, good for him. Am I going to go around and make a joke out of that guy? You know what? Hey, man, if those kids end up being better off and whatnot, then his body of work is a lot more impressive, probably, than him bragging to me about, 100 different women he slept with when he's 60.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to qualify that guy just in that specific scenario as a simp. Like, if you're just going to date someone like that,
that's what I mean. And let me just say this: I've never dated a woman with kids before. I'm not against it. It's not been one of my things. All my girlfriends have been. Yeah, I just find the utter lack of individual empathy or compassion for someone individually, where you're just grouping them in as, you're a single baby mama hoe. It's like, if she lined up 100 of these women on her show, she would be intimidated. She would not act this way
because of like you said, the different stories they'll have.
No way. Yeah. No way. This is a total act, and it's ha ha ha. And then you got your friend on that looks, I don't know what kind of status she has. She's like, yeah, okay. This is not, you know what I mean? This is not even looking at it now, Rob, because I didn't watch the whole thing, it's probably more humor and a views grab in some sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is just, like I said, line up 100 of these women, and then beyond it, this is another thing I'd like to add. And some people are going to be like, what? This whole narrative, like, she's a hoe, these are hoes, these are this or that. It's like, you don't know what that woman did to get to that place. You don't know what her upbringing was, right? And so no one has the time for this. Stop grouping everyone in. Deal with the people you fucking know. And if you're having bad results in dating, don't go and watch why dating is ruined in 2022, because now you just have ammunition. You have all this ammunition of why you're not doing well with dating, and you're going to meet more women like this that fit the narrative, because that's what your subconscious does. It wants to make it true. Right? All right, let me see if I can finish this up, because it's
you get a house. You get money from the government. If you pay people to be single mothers, more people will. Now, what happened next? Wait, hold on. Let me undo the back. You have to edit this out.
Move that side back, Pearl.
Wait, hold on. I need my pointer. What happened next, Jess?
Social media.
The ultimate ego inflator. Okay, women. All right, this is what social media did. Here's a girl. This is let's say this is, what should we name her, Jess?
Susie.
Susie. Okay. Now Susie, what would we rate Susie 1 to 10?
She's about like a 4, maybe 5.
She's not a whale. She's a stick. She can't be.
Oh, I can't see Susie.
Oh, sorry, Susie.
Okay. She's like on the higher end.
No, I mean, I'm just saying she's not fat. We can keep her 4. You want to be a 4?
We'll say 6.
6. Okay. Susie is a 6. No, 6 is cute, right?
It's absolutely ridiculous. So we just go into numbers of people. She's a 4, 5, or 6, but if she's fat, she would be like a 3 or a 4. But because she's skinny, this is ridiculous stuff. It's just ridiculously shallow. It's like now she's going to create a thing about how social media has ruined dating. Social media, here, get ready for this one. Write this down if you're watching this, right? It's a fucking choice. It's not a mandate. So this idea that, oh yeah, you know, like social media's done this, social media's done this. It's like you can go on social media and be a part of that subculture of rating women 4 to 10, 4 to 5. I don't have a problem when someone says, oh, she's a 10, she's an 8. It's like, whatever. If that's like all you do all the time on your initial thing, have you done that when you initially meet any woman?
No. Honestly,
no. Oh, dude, when I met her, she's an 8. No. It's like, that has to be a question that someone asks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like she's claiming that for everyone on social media, it's the immediate go-to thing, right? Again, someone believes this. Oh, all the women on social media do this. Nah, not really. Not really. Not all women do social media. There's a faction of people out there that I've met that are like, I don't do social media. As soon as I meet them, I'm like, wow, that's impressive. It's like when you meet someone, they don't drink alcohol. It's like, to me, that's impressive. That's a thing that's not healthy. I like to have a few beers sometimes. I don't drink that often. But someone that doesn't, I think, wow, you're going against the grain for something healthier lifestyle or a reason. It's like, oh, everyone does social media in 2020. No, they don't. I don't know what the percentages are, but I'm sure you have some made up thing here.
Right? However, Susie, with the development of birth control, has been screwing 9s, 10s. This is Chad, Tyrone, etc. And then what she does is she goes on Instagram, like the Instagram logo, posts a picture and gets likes, hearts, from.
Here's a continuous narrative that I'm not buying. She's done this more than once. She said this woman that's an example of a 6, her opinion, get guys that are 9s and 10s to screw her all the time. I'm like, so those guys would go down in lieu of her being on birth control. The narrative on this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If a guy's really a quote unquote 9 or 10, why would he be with a girl 4 or 5 or 6 if he can be with ones 8, 9, or 10? If we're going to use those kinds of things, she's just assuming that Chad or Tyrone are the hoes. That they're just, in it for sport, do anything, anywhere, anytime. There's people like that, but this is where these kinds of things, when you watch them, and you're like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. It's not true. It's true of individuals, right? But why would they go that low? Yeah, men will go with lower women, but
athletes, entertainers. Who else? Actors. Let's put in actors. Now, these men would never. How many rappers are gonna wife Susie? None. But she thinks that she's on the athletes, the entertainers, the actors. Maybe it's.
Look at these examples. How many rappers are gonna wife Susie? We've never seen Susie. We don't know her. This is just all hypothetical mumbo jumbo. And that entertainers, these are the people that get any women they want, but they would be with Susie, who's a 5, 6, or 7. The reality is what she's doing is she's grouping in people's morals and values as if this is how all men and women are in 2022 during the circumstances. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's gotten out of hand recently. It really has, because people watch this stuff and they rally call over it. It's like, oh yeah, thank you for so much for being honest about this. This is complete horseshit. Complete horseshit. Yeah, it's going in a direction of shallow sound bites. Some guys based on their self-confidence will go for a low-hanging fruit. No, that's fine, but I mean these are the kinds of things. All right. I'll go a little bit further. Anyone that's on right now, we're going to get into a story in a moment. Let me know if you have any breakup advice you want or you have any questions really quick. I'll see if I can get through this a little bit further. If not, maybe I'll have to cut it.
Not them, but the equivalent, right? She thinks that she's on their level. She's not. She's just been screwing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so then what Susie does
Screwing up.
is she now has slept with all these guys that don't want her. She's got low self-esteem, right? No, sorry, let me cut that. She's got high self-esteem because she thinks she's this hot, but the guy that's really this is Joe over here. This is Joe. Okay.
From you.
Now Joe, let's say he's a 6 point, oh shoot. Let's say Joe is a 6.5. So he's slightly better looking. He would take Susie seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But she's been ran through by these guys, and now his wife.
I think there's a good chance Pearl might be Susie. How would she know all this so well? Like when people, you know what it's like? It's kind of like, you know what I'm talking about when someone's like, hey, I got a question for a friend.
Yeah.
I get those sometimes,
yeah.
bro. I get those. Like people honestly do that with me. They go, hey, I got a friend.
Uh-huh.
They've come on the live stream before, or they've done it when we've done coaching call. Hey, I got a friend. Oh, really?
Okay. Let's.
Hey, here's an example of Susie. Who's Susie, Pearl? Who's this person you know so well that you've made up? And the fact that she passed and she's a hoe now. She's hooked up with all the, and you missed it because you just took a piss break, but she said basically that Susie could be a 4, 5, or 6, and and then she hooks up with entertainers. Rappers was her example.
Oh, okay.
Right? Which I don't know where she came up with that one. The rapper's never going to wife her. And I'm like, here's what's being lost in her whole example. How old is this person?
That's what I'm saying.
Right? Yeah. It's different if she was 33 to 23. Number 2, how many women on social media that are a 4, 5, or 6 have access to a rapper's personal circle?
It's a pretty small number.
Right? And I wouldn't call her a hoe. It's usually called a groupie.
A groupie.
If that's right?
Maybe they're saying.
Is there a different term for that? And
that's what we used to call them. Groupies.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's like so she's gonna be a hoe after being with all these rappers or these entertainers or these rich guys, and then Joe, who's average at 6.5, that would take her. Joe that's 6.5 might not take her anyways because she doesn't have a good personality, because she's got a low self-esteem, or because she's a groupie. Right? Like if he met her and she's like highly obsessed with some rock star or rapper, that would be immediate turnoff for Joe, who's average Joe.
Or because she's on social
So
media.
you're just assuming that she could get the guy that's 6 or 6.5?
Right.
If the guy smelled it on her that she's like that. But here's the thing. Here's what's going to shock you, Pearl. There's guys out there that don't care that she had a body count of 20 guys and hooked up with a rapper. There's some guys out there that wouldn't care. It could have been the best sex he's ever had. They connect on so many levels. And the rapper she hooked up with, it's his favorite rapper too. I mean, these are narratives I could just create too.
Right.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. Do you see how narratives work? It's just a story. It's just a story, right? You could easily, there's so many guys out there, you're like, wow, man, you know, so-and-so's been with, you know, a lot of guys. The guy doesn't care at all. He thinks it's absolutely fantastic. He thinks it's great. There's no problem with, there's guys out there that they could care less about that. It's like the idea that a guy's going to take care of someone else's kids. There's plenty of guys that would do that with pleasure, and maybe the woman had a phase from, you know, 22 to 33, and now she wants to settle down. People change when they get older. So this narrative is extremely close-minded. There's no nuance involved. But like I said, yes, playlist 003, there might be some projection here. This might be about her. And this is what people, when they use examples, oh, this is an example. Where did you get that example from?
They pull some stuff from their own life.
Yes. Yeah. All the time. Right. You really want to get to know people? Listen to their examples and then ask them, is that similar to something that's happened in your past? And they'll go,
life? Yeah.
Were you the girl on social media that was getting ran through? No. How do you know so much about this narrative? Like, how do you know this is true? Because why?
I had a friend.
Exactly. Hey, I have a friend I want to ask a question for. Go ahead, shoot, man. What's your friend's name? You forgot your friend's name?
Got this high-ass body count. She slept with all these guys. She really wants these guys, and she says, fine, I'll marry Joe. Time's running out.
Dang.
And it basically inflated. And now Susie's just a metaphor for average women that think they're deserving of athletes, entertainers, when really...
How about this? Is Pearl an average woman? Does she... This is a good... B's so nice. He's like being nice about this. So she's like, Susie's this, Susie's that. Is Pearl... I would love to get her personal rating on herself. She's got a pretty popular YouTube channel, which stands something in this world.
Yeah, of course.
Right? 400,000 views. What do you think her rating is on a scale of 1 to 10?
You're right. I am being nice, but like I would have to get to know her. I'm not just gonna base her on looks. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that's pretty shallow. Like,
but that's what she's doing as her example.
So I'm not gonna do that because I think that's pretty. Like you said, it's shallow. So I'm not gonna, if like we're just going on looks. Maybe she's average, but she brings a lot of other stuff to the table. She has a YouTube channel, whatever. I don't know her. Like
on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give her though?
6.
You give her a 6?
6.5.
Oh wow, you're being way too kind. You're being way too kind, I think. Does anyone want, since she's giving these examples of all these projected numbers for people? And by the way, here's a great question, right? Let's say that she's single, right? And you meet her at a roller skating ring. So you meet her somewhere, and you're like, oh yeah, she's cute, and you find something attractive about her that I don't see, but you see, right? And you guys get to talking. You don't know she has a YouTube channel, and then you see a video like this. Are you like, does that make her lose points for you on the attraction level, or are you like, oh man, she gets it. Dating's ruined in 2022. She really knows this narrative.
I don't know. I'd have to watch some more videos.
You're a liar, dude. So would you be in your head? Would you go, oh man, let me check out your YouTube video, and then you see something like this, and you're like,
yeah, I don't know. I might have to think about it.
Do you think she's talking about herself a little bit?
Probably, yeah.
And the other thing is like, oh, and so has got a body. Like, it would be great to be like, what's your body count, Pearl? Right? No judgment. There is no judgment.
No judgment.
There's no judgment. Right?
But what's yours? What's yours, Pearl?
Me?
No. What's yours, Pearl?
People get into that so much now, huh?
Right.
You know what's funny about that too? It's like, me and you have talked about this before. How many do you remember?
Well, we just had someone write.
How do you remember the details of each scenario, or is it just done, just like a good meal? It's like if you had a good meal, right, and someone's like, "Oh my god, it was so good, that steak, that da da da," right, and you're like, but you've been to places that are like you anticipated a good meal and it wasn't good. And how many of those you just forget? Look, you just forget about. You don't talk about, but you're like, it is part of the body count.
Are you eating steak every night?
Yeah, that's a big one. A friend of mine used to say that. Well, I don't go out if I don't have steak at home.
Are you eating it once a month? What are you doing?
Playlist 003. I'll get to your question in a moment. Good question. What's the difference between hypnosis, hypnotherapy, hypnotism? There is a difference. Good question. Let me see if I can squeal through this last part here.
It's almost over.
6.5. Give me a break, dude. Look at you.
They were deserving of Joe, but Joe's like, this is my wife. She's been ran through by all the entertainers, the athletes, whoever. And now that's why dating's ruined, because what happens is then Joe and Susie get married, and she's like, I'm not really happy in this, so she's cheating with these guys. All right, she's like, holla at me. And then eventually she leaves, breaks up the marriage, because women leave 70 to 80% of the time.
Dang, that's high.
Yeah. 90% if you're college educated. So I mean, you got a college degree.
No, there's no stats on this or research. It's just thrown out. Yeah. 70 to 80% of the women leave. There's no John Hopkins, 2,000 people. It's just, that's what it is. Yeah. And the college educated ones too. Like, let me just throw it. It's like, what? So what's the specifics on this research? Is it in the notes of the video? No. It's just 70 to 80% of women in America, in Michigan, in New York. You know what I mean? It's just that this is what, and it's like, yeah, no, it's true. And I'm college educated, which is questionable, right? It's like, seriously? 78, I don't even know. How is that even true? It's like when someone gets divorced too, right? There's always two sides of the fucking story. How many times would people go, well, actually, we didn't really break up. Mm-hmm. We kind of just agreed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do that. Mm-hmm. And that's true for some people. Like, oh, actually, you know what? She left, but we kind of agreed.
Yeah,
like, so that
mutual.
So the idea that you even would have that information scaled at a level that was absolute is idiotic. This is the kind of stuff that's like, how about this? Talk to 10 people that have been divorced and just get a serving size like that, random people, and see how many are like, oh, the woman left. I bet a couple of them are like, actually, this happened, and the woman would probably be like, oh, I was checked out. There's all different scenarios to this. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the idea that the woman would get bored, if he's a 6.5 and she's a 5 or a 6 and she has been through all these guys, it's not necessarily she's going to be the one to cheat. He could easily cheat too. Like, why wouldn't he be the one cheating? Right? Why wouldn't he be the one sick of her? Again, this sounds like a projected story. This is a story that she's saying like, oh, this is what happens with women nowadays. It's not. It's one possibility.
90% chance we leave. We get divorced.
I promise, baby.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna
promise.
leave.
We'll be good.
I promise, baby. I ain't gonna leave.
And that's why dating is ruined in 2022, because I'm going to just do a recap. Because first, birth control allowed hoes to be hoes. Then the provider,
Man, I'd love to ask her some questions about where she gets this perspective from based on her own body of work here. All right, so what's the difference between hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and hypnotism? All right, well, hypnosis is just the state of being in trance, right? So if a trance state is a highly concentrated state where you're relaxed, you drop your barriers. You know, when me and you are talking, you don't realize that all 5 senses are working, but you're also thinking about, you know, some different things. When you close your eyes, when you go to a soft place, when you quiet everything down, you can get into a state of extreme relaxation, which is very similar to being in meditative state. Or when you're driving your car on a highway by yourself, listening to good music, that's a trance state. So hypnosis is like that. Hypnotherapy is combining, is putting you into a relaxed state of trance where you're in rapport with someone else, or you can do self-hypnosis, but hypnotherapy, and then talking about possibly bringing up matters specific to your issues, like a therapist would do, but using a different state. So, you might have some barriers up to talk about something, and this is where people get scared, where they're protecting things. So
I'm gonna say something that
right.
I don't want.
So you're gonna want to be in a state where you're in rapport with someone, and you trust them, and you're
where you can share information that yeah.
Right. So the hypnotherapy part is mixing the therapy with being in a hypnotic state, and then there's different practices within hypnotherapy, such as Ericksonian, which is metaphor or story based, which you get into a really nice state, and then based on what you want to change about some of your beliefs, maybe some stories are told to you, just like you'd have a story with a point at the end that might reframe things for you. And hypnotism is like past tense, right?
I have a question. Say you help somebody, right, and you go through a hypnotherapy session with them, and it's helping with whatever problems they have. Does it kind of wean over, or does it lessen over time, and do you have to keep doing sessions, or does it depend on the person?
Depends on the person.
Just depends on the person. Maybe
some
it'll
people,
be one time, and it just helps.
Look at it this way. This is why stories like this lady I'm talking about, that people create these mass narratives to scale. When you get into therapy, the best therapy is individually tailored therapy for who you are as a personality. So saying that, just like you might have an allergic reaction or certain words aren't right, there's certain people I've had clients where they were scared of spiders. We did one session and they're never scared of spiders again. And they don't even know why.
Right.
They're like, yeah, I just stopped. They wouldn't say thank you to me or you did it. They're just like, yeah, I'm just not scared of spiders anymore. It was just that. And those kind of people are more maybe impressionable. It might have been deeper for them. So it's different for different people. The changes are very subliminal. Some people, they don't know why they've changed, but they've changed. It's not like someone's giving them directions. They've just changed a narrative. And that's why when I do videos like this, I'm joking a little bit. I'm glad you brought this up. But watching videos like this is extremely detrimental to your narratives in your head. So just by her saying, 70 to 80% of women are the ones to leave and get divorced, it's just not true, right? If you asked her on stage, how much is this true? But someone will take that, put it in their back pocket, and then go, their best friend's getting married, and they're like, 70 to 80% of the time the women leave you. It's and then they grab that. So going back to the hypnotherapy part, it's different for different people. I would say if you're really going to go to work on all your stuff, then you probably need a few sessions. Right. But some people
might be a one and done.
It can be. It can be. I never would say everyone needs 10 sessions or something like that. I would say that in my experience, I've never had a bad session doing hypnotherapy with anyone. I've never had someone say, I didn't like that, or it didn't work for me.
I'm sure it depends on the person and how deep their problem is.
Right. And some people associate it with how deep they go, but it's not really that. It's what's being discussed. But what'll happen, another form of hypnotherapy, there's also where I ask you questions while you're in a relaxed state.
Okay.
Right? Because when you were in it, you could answer questions.
Yeah.
You weren't out of your body, right? You were just extremely relaxed and calm. So your barriers are down. So when I ask you a question about something that you might be a little bit more guarded about, or you might be hiding from yourself, then, those are the kinds of things that bubble up that are useful to you. And you're like, oh shit, I wasn't thinking of it that way. Because there's so many distractions in your head. And this is why watching content like this, like I said, what you're doing in hypnotherapy is you're opening up messages and thoughts directed towards possibly your problem,
right,
or what you want to get better at, like manifestation or something like that, like what's holding you back. You get really in touch with that, and then you can maybe make some moves. Because usually you just have some guardians at the gates. That's what everyone does. And the problem with narratives like this video I just showed you, I'm going to be a little serious right now. You just created a guardian at the gate. You watch this one video for 10 minutes. Yeah, she's being played, but she's a woman. And this is where The problem is now we used to go to doctors, priest, and if they told us something, it's like, well, they're a priest, they're a doctor. So it's 100% true. Now, that wasn't a good thing because there's bad doctors and bad priests, just like there's bad people and good people.
It wasn't always a good thing. It could be a good thing, but...
Well, depending on the priest or the doctor.
person,
And this is what I'm always going to come back to. I'm going to hammer home over and over again. Treat people individually. Stop being like men and women are like this or, whatever. Right. Same applies for race. Same applies for subculture, right? Judge the individuals on their own actions. And this is one of those things. Someone created a clever narrative that's probably about her more than anything else because she would want this narrative to be true for some reason. Like people, unless they're creative writers or that writing's their background or storytelling's their background, they usually are telling stories about themselves. So if they, like I said, there's something to this in her circle or her group that's true to her, but she's saying it's true to everyone else. And this is what gets so small about people's worlds. Stay with me on this. If you ever want to do a hypnotherapy session and possibly change your life, sounds dramatic, but it's true, right? You just don't realize how much you're in your own world. Like her going into this, she's completely like, this is true. This is true. It's like, not really. It's like attachment theory. You've heard of attachment theory?
We talked about it briefly.
Yeah, attachment theory is it's a theory. You know what a theory is? It's not true. But if someone's famous or a PhD doctor, it's like, wait a minute, their theory holds weight. At the end of the day, it's still a theory. There's no scientific evidence about attachment theory. But there's people out there that go, Dr. So-and-so wrote this book in 1950s and did this research, but the research didn't cover all men and women, and the research was biased towards his thing. There's probably not even evidence that all his research is 100% true, like if you went through it with a fine-tooth comb. Now, here's a good analogy of that, right? In this day and age, if you have a modern car, which I think anything past the last 30 years has a computer system in the car, correct? So a lot of times they'll take your car to a Honda dealership or one of these dealerships and they'll go, let me just put it on the machine and the machine will give me a code.
The readout. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about that? And so then they go, such and such is wrong with the car. The computer just told me that on your screen. That's very common now, right? Like, and you'd have to go to a Honda person that had that thing usually, right? But they could tell you exactly what's wrong with pretty good accuracy, right? Now, why is that? Why is that? Why, if I took my Honda Civic, 2015 Honda Civic in, and I'm like, I don't even know what's wrong with it. It's making this sound. And they're like, oh, it's the O-rings. It's this, it's that. We just changed those out. And then you take your car in and your car's making a similar sound, but they have a different problem. They fix it. How can they do that? Because we have the same car.
What do you mean, like technology?
Like technology, but no. Anyone in the comments on this? How could they do that? How could they get an answer to every problem out of a computer generated thing?
Oh, they've seen it before.
Possibly. Anything else? Come on, get creative. I mean, why? What else would it be?
Yeah, that they've gone through like hundreds of thousands of these, problems, and the computer's seen it 100,000, 200,000 times or whatever.
Rob says it won't always be accurate.
True.
But it's probably going to be more accurate than a human being. Now, here's where I'm going to go with this. Okay. Now, here's the key. Were all the fucking cars built the same? You're saying no.
Oh, I mean like in a factory
all the components.
Line? Yeah, they're put together the same way. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much they're going to have the same components. Right? Now, the way the car is driven is going to decide what problems you have. But being able to diagnose the problems of the car is the fact that all those cars were made with the same parts.
They're exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Rob says, the computer can be wrong. Sure. Probably not a high percentage wrong, though. It's probably a low percentage, and it could be absolutely documented how many times the computer was wrong. Right? But overall, because the car was made the same, the cars are the same specs. Same engine, Maybe a different factory might use different screws, but probably not. Probably not, right? So when you get to humans, think about that. You can't set up humans and go, you're attachment theory number 1, man. Because you're this, and this. You're just doing what a car place would do, and going, let me put in this data, let me put in this data point, and you fall into one of 4 categories. That's you. What? All human beings are so different, right? And so, I've seen this kind of person before. No, you really haven't, because if you sat down with that person and talked to them for like 3 or 4 hours, something about their past, something about their parents, something about their childhood, whether that's good, bad, happy, or sad, would probably surprise you. Be like, really? Have you ever met people? You're like, wow, I was really surprised that so and so's actually, spent 2 years in the Amazon for a church charity when they were 9 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And you're like, what? That affected that person. So what people do now is they go, oh yeah, your attachment theory XYZ. They just hook you up to the car computer and they go, well, you told me this, this, and this, and I've been trained in this. It's like, no, listen to that person's individual problems, because human beings aren't machines. They're not. There's nothing about them that's a machine, because they're feeling based, they're energy based. And so when you get into like hypnosis and hypnotherapy, what you're doing is you're shutting down the engine a little bit. You're taking away all the distractions. And then the person is able to share things or take in things easier that are beneficial to them. Now, what's happened with hypnosis and hypnotherapy is there's been all these movies and shows where it's a big joke. But the reality is a lot of doctors that are PhDs use it primarily. They use it a lot. A lot. It's just got this bad rap. Because what it does is someone's able to use hypnosis, it deflates the fact of someone going to school for 8 years. They're like, it can't be true because I've been to school for 3,000 hours, I've done this much, so I'm better. Not really. You've just learned to diagnose people in a certain way, rather than learning to listen better and having people help diagnose themselves. That's how it is. And they do it all the time. It's like, oh yeah, she's doing it right now. Oh, these hypothetical situations with Susie that's a 4 or 5. This doesn't speak for everyone. Thanks for answering clearly. What is hypnoanalysis? I'm not sure. I never used that term, so I'm not going to guess. That's something that that's not a term I use. Hypnoanalysis. I know what those 2 words would mean by themselves, so I'm not going to go, oh, that's such and such. I don't know. I've never used hypnoanalysis. If I had to guess, which is a total guess, or I would say that probably that would go into this idea that if you can be hypnotized or not. I think Joe Rogan just had it recently where we talked about it, but the video got taken down.
Was it on that one? Was it on that one?
Does it say something for hypnoanalysis? I think it means where you would see how hypnotizable you are, but that's not something I believe in. Is that what it is?
It says it's, I just Googled it. Hypnoanalysis is the technique of using hypnosis in the practice of psychoanalysis and psychotherapy. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know that. Right. There's a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists that use hypnosis that have been trained in it. And they use it side by side or primarily. There's a lot. One of my favorites is, Michael Yapko. He's great. If you want to look him up, I've shared him before. You gonna do it, playlist 003? All right, we got 10 on deck. Let me know if there's any other. We went an hour and a half today. It was pretty good. I'm gonna get into I've been doing some more short questions. Let me know if you have any questions that you want to put on a video this week. Specific questions. It seems like the order of the day recently has been a lot of questions on dating. Everyone's into dating right now. Maybe that's just what's coming up.
Maybe it's just getting out of the, COVID stuff and whatever. People are more into dating.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. But these kinds of videos are just shocking, man. It's just shocking. But like I said, like Rob said, maybe this is a certain element. But here, let me just read some of the comments about this. It's never been easier to exist without women in your personal life. After years of trying to make it work, it's liberating and empowering to be free of it. When Pearl speaks of how baby mamas are created when women avoid nice guys but sleep with bad boys, Pearl touched upon an extremely vital point. You see, no matter who attempts at shaming nice and good guys, one cannot deny that removing the good and nice guys from the family caused the family unit to crumble, because the truth is a bad man is not a reliable provider. However, a good man is a type of man who fight to protect his family. Pearl, I said it once and I'll say it again, you're the MVP. So here's the thing, Rob. People are taking this shit seriously.
Even if she was being somewhat joking. Yeah.
Do you know when I said that,
like,
she makes a vital point here? And then he's using the terms nice guy, good guys, nice people. It's like such a generalized term of who's nice and who's bad would be different to different people. Sad but true. This is from Leroy Jenkins. Many of us men still have enough self-respect not to degrade ourselves by settling for one of these Jezebels while simultaneously risking our livelihoods in this rigged game. Only he who does not play does not lose. So the answer is to not. Okay. I love the easygoing, not taking yourself too seriously, and you always give. I imagine during the Stone Age they were lower. Pearl is an absolute treasure of a human being. This breakdown is both enlightening and terribly depressing. This is I think we can all agree if we had red pill as a mandatory subject in school, the world would be a much better place for us all. Thank you, Pearl. 38-year-old male. Thank you for keeping it real. Facts are facts. There's not one negative thing in here. Pearl is a G because she's not trying to teach men this stuff. She's trying to teach women. And the process, men do learn, but she doesn't come across as disingenuous. What's truly scary is that I remember how dating was before social media took over. The only way I found to adapt to the world I was in was to shed my concept of loyalty and trade it in for a polyamorous lifestyle and just expect honesty. At times went on, became a difficult task to find a single, honest woman in general. I got super lucky to find someone that wants to see me happy just as much as I want to see her happy. So you got lucky. So it had nothing to do with being a good catch or anything. But I'm still available to other women. She's still available to other partners as well. I found it incredibly hard to become attracted to damn near every person. So the idea that you're polyamorous and your girlfriend agreed to that is actually a positive for a lot of people, I would say. I wouldn't say a lot of guys would feel sorry for that situation. I've come across the point where I will reject most opportunities to advance. How did the dating scene get so bad that even polyamorous men find most women these days to be dishonest to the point where their looks don't even attract us anymore? Wow. I'm 50 and I can say I had to learn the hard way with being in relationships with single moms when I was younger. They get the government aid. Sometimes they get child support and you're paying on another guy's franchise. And the sad part is that very little goes to the kid. The amount of excuses from these women about having to do something nice for themselves all the time with the money for the kids is insane. So I'm glad to be single. Now we need to cut government aid to these single parent households. The rest of us now subsidizing their behavior. Wow, nothing. I used to be a nanny. What I learned are most stay-at-home moms don't care for their kids. Oh my good. They pawn them off on others. They're also looking for daytime bedroom fun. Well, bottom line is you've been a nanny and now you know all parents do. It's unbelievable. Oh my goodness. I'm looking for a woman to have children with. Best advice. Well, this might sound simplistic. I'll let B say what he wants to say first. What would you say?
For what?
I'm looking for a woman to have children with. Best advice? Don't go to Pearl.
Don't go to Pearl for sure. Don't do that. Yeah, someone you connect with, someone you share the same values with. Me personally, I would look for someone to have similar hobbies, stuff like that. Do you think that they're going to be a good mother? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know.
I would say, and I'll do a short for this.
Okay.
But I would say that, so this is what's really interesting. When you talk to a lot of different people, what they say first. So like if you said, what do you look for in a woman? And they go, she's got to be hot. That's number one for them.
Right.
So it's sequential. So ask yourself, what do I really want, right? Now, if you're looking for a woman to have children with, what should come first is when you're with her and you're out with her. Obviously, attraction's important, connection's important, and trust is important. Those are obvious things. Okay.
Those are
pillars.
When you're first meeting someone.
They're pillars in
And
relationships.
they're important. You're right. Yeah.
But there's something you don't look at when you're dating that you should look at when you want a woman to have children with. And you should say to yourself, would she be a good mom?
How do they act around kids?
Right. So like that, someone will go, oh yeah, that's obvious. No, it's not. Because when I was 25, I never thought of that.
You never were thinking
I
that,
never thought, oh, how good a mom would she be? If someone brought that up to me, I'd be like, dude, what are you ruining things for?
Crazy? Like, what are you talking
Don't jinx me.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, if I'm doing that now, it's different because when you're in a relationship, there's going to be some things you don't like, right? So you're going to have to trade off. There can't be 100% bulletproof perfect. Maybe some people have those. I don't know. But if your number one thing is a woman to have children with, right? Then when you're around her and she likes kids, she's had a good childhood herself, she doesn't hate her parents, she's got similar morals and values about how to raise kids as you do. So I would say put her in a situation where she's around some kids. Maybe you have nieces or nephews or something like that. And how does she interact with them? Does she spoil them? Does she a joy to be around? Does she really love kids? You know, because if you're going to commit to that, it's different than just hooking up, right? And there's a lot. Here's the crazy thing is I have clients that are women and men. This is why this narrative that's up here that everyone's like, oh yeah, thank you for supporting this. There's good women out there that want to have kids. I have clients like that. And they're with guys that don't want to have kids. So I would say at the top of your list, would this woman be a good parent? Does she have the morals and values I'd want my kid to have? Like sometimes people, when you're dating them, they say stuff and you're like, what? Like they'll just say something that they don't regard as bad and you don't regard as bad because it wasn't done to you directly. Now that's a big one. So like, let's say she's talking about work. I've had someone like this before. They were in let me see how I can spin this because I don't want to tell the complete story.
Yeah.
They were in a business where sales were being done and it was a shady company. Right. It was just a fucking shady company. And this woman worked like the front desk.
Okay.
And it was a shady company from the beginning. And she said, well, I don't care because I get paid, but you're a part of it. They're lying to clients. They're doing some things, right? And then she got asked to lie herself, like about sales numbers in order to get someone to buy something that was just completely shady, right? And I said to her, I said, now you're being a part of it. So what are you going to do now? It's like, well, no, I can't lose my salary, this or that. It's a choice. How does she handle validating that, which isn't in her morals or values, but she's completely capable of doing in the name of money? Now, that's something you might look past if you're just hooking up. Now, if you're going to marry someone or have kids with them, you got to look at it and like, well, this is going to be instilled in your kids to be a little bit shady when it comes to money.
Right.
See how that works? Right. So I'm not saying to go to, but you're going to be looking for something different. So if you've been dating, looking for different things, and there's, like I said, guys in their early 20s, hot. I want to share the pictures with my friends. I want to tell everyone how hot she is. Okay, fine. That's fine. But you're trading something off for that by making that number one. A lot of people are like, oh, I want, it's just like women on some of these, gushy channels are like, oh, a man that's emotionally available. I don't even know what that means. A man that's emotionally available for everything. Because they say that the guy's not emotionally available. A lot of women would find that to be a turnoff if the guy's too whiny.
Too emotional,
yeah. So that's what you got to look at. Like that's what I would say. And you kind of know, like you've been around. I've gotten that compliment from women, like, wow, you'd be a really good dad. It's like, that's a really nice compliment. You should, because I'm good with kids. I've been around kids a lot. I was a teacher, right? I was a teacher at various levels. So that's what you got to look at. I used to watch videos like hers and others. They are toxic, almost women hating. I love women, just bad with them. Playlist, book a live coaching session. We'll get into it. I'll help you out. If she ain't sure about having kids in the future, she probably won't any, and you are wasting time with her. Want any? People can change their mind,
That's
Sabina.
possible, but yeah, they can change.
People can change their mind. And there's a lot of people that, they have a kid and it wasn't planned and it was a blessing for them. So this idea that, people need to get in touch with the individuals that they're actually around regularly. And if you're going to judge anyone, really know them. Mentally health of women, very important to have strong partner.
Yeah.
But I would say that's an underrated one, right? Is that obviously if you're looking for a woman for children with, she wants to have children, but would she be a good parent? And some of them, sometimes you're around people when they're around kids, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, how is she acting around the kids?
You know what I'm saying?
Let's look.
Because it's not something you're going to know until it happens, but it's a good segue. If they're really annoyed, I know some good people that aren't good parents.
They're quick.
That aren't, that are very impatient. They don't realize they're being selfish. You know what I mean? So they just don't like kids. They don't have the patience for it. It happens.
Kids will do that to you.
Yeah.
Kids will do that.
Frustration. There you go.
No, they'll test you.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Mentally healthy women are very important. Well, that's a good question though. I did have one question on deck, one story on deck, but I think I'll save it for a regular video. Let's see what we got here. Does anyone have any comments to close this? Dating in 2022 has never been better. Does anyone feel like the game's really skewed against them? One thing I've noticed is clients that are looking for solutions and looking to be better in the dating game usually get it. There's never been more resources with dating apps and things like that. And I think you might be overwhelmed by that, but this idea that it's never been worse. This, to me, the faction of women that are a part of this narrative that she was discussing earlier, that are quote unquote hoes or using guys, that are going out with all the Chads and Tyrones. This isn't a majority of the population of women. Right? This might be true for some, but it's also just a created story. Skills for parenting are for a long talk. And they'd be different for different people. So the other part of that would be make sure your values line up.
I think that's huge, yeah.
Make sure what you guys value. What's up, Justin Brown? How are you?
Yeah, I don't think just wanting kids, like how you want to raise your kids,
Well, it's funny because I saw this in a self-improvement book. Sometimes you're in love. I think it was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Sometimes you're in love with the idea of something, like becoming a rock star. One of his chapters was, I always wanted to be a rock star and live in New York City. But he's like, I didn't really want to put in the work on the guitar. Right. But then I found out when I was a writer and a dating coach, which Mark Manson started out that way, he was like, I was willing to do the writing part. So there's just a client recently that I had that's in law school, and he's backed out of law school twice. But he blames it on the school. He blamed it on the school once. He blamed it on the teacher. All right. I said, listen, you can blame it on those things. I'm not going to argue with you about that.
You're not going to say that's right or
Yeah,
wrong.
I wasn't
or
in there.
whatever.
Yeah. Someone else will go, oh, yeah, you're just making excuses. It doesn't matter. But I'll tell you this. Maybe you're just in love with the idea of being a lawyer rather than doing the work.
Right.
So that's okay, but stop going to school for it. So if you want, and the ironic thing is you're building a case of why you're in there or why you're out of there. So you're actually, acting like a lawyer. But if you don't want to jump through the hoops to get there, because everything takes time, right? It's like a lot of people would say, oh, I can go on YouTube and it's like, go ahead and do it. Are you going to be on camera in front of a bunch of people? Are you going to do that process that takes so long to get these people to follow your channel or it's a process, right? So a lot of times you think, I like the idea of being married. I like the idea of having a kid. And then you're actually in the process and you're like, oh shit, the problem with marriage and there's no just quitting it.
Right.
But there is actually now it's more socially accepted if you want to do that.
Just to be out.
Yeah, no one's going to be like, oh my God. Right? So, but that goes back to that. Some people just like the idea of something, but they don't really want to do what it takes to get there or climb. It's like, I'd love to climb Mount Everest, but I don't really want to climb up there. I'd rather take the helicopter. It's like, all right, well then you're going to have to take another path and probably make a lot of money, get some connections for that. I just got off work. Also, what's going, B? All right. Well, Justin's on deck here.
What's up, Justin Brown?
Justin likes this. Are you in a breakup right now, JB? You've been on and off some of these things for a while. All right. 13 on deck. I think I'll drop the story today. I'm feeling frisky. I was going to do a separate video for this.
Let's get it.
It's probably not the best thing for the views on the channel and whatnot, but I don't really care.
Let's get it.
I don't really care. So, you ready for the story?
Yeah, let's go.
14 on deck. All right. If you have a story you want to send in, please send it in to writemac.com and I'll give you my take. Here's a story right now. Hey, Mac, I broke up with my ex 3 months ago, but she came back for a week in between. All right. Well, that's nice. A little cameo. It was sort of back together, then not together in a flash. Well, a lot of guys don't even get that chance, and they're always like, oh, if we got back together, and the reality is once you break up and you get back together, it's not the same for a lot of people because the rope's gotten broken. The relationship is usually not healed or fixed the way it was supposed to be, and people a lot of times just get back together because they're worried, they're alone, there might be some finances, but the problem didn't really get fixed. And so one thing, when they get back together, they're really sensitive. So something that they used to let go, after breaking up once, they're like, fuck that, you did it again.
Right.
And they're out. So this is not surprising, and this is actually clarity, because then if you didn't have this one time in 3 months, you'd be like, oh, if we were just together, I could make everything right. Not really. We were together for over 2 years. I can't believe it went by so quick. It was great while it lasted. She told me in the end that I could do better than her and that she just lost feelings for me. It was a real blow to my ego. I can't describe how much it hurts. I had a skiing injury to my back that has been bothering me for the last year, so I haven't exercised as much as I've gained some serious weight. All right, so you got a built-in excuse there, which is valid. When I say that, it's like, I'm not saying this without sympathy, but what you're saying, translation, you've gained weight. You don't look the same. Translation to gaining weight. I've lost some confidence. I'm not the same guy I was with her before. Okay. The reason for that is a ski accident. Unfortunately, you still got to lose some weight probably, is what you're saying. You said gained serious weight, so I'm going to assume that's not attractive. I know it's fair. I know it's not fair, as she looks great and has kept her fitness to the fullest. Well, one thing that your subconscious mind's probably saying is it's not fair that you had this ski accident. Okay, I'm with you. At the same time, you're identifying it right now as being a problem, and you're thinking it's about her, but it's really about you, because you even identifying that, yeah, I know I'm not up to par, I know I have a serious weight issue, you lost confidence, and that's unattractive. She says it isn't that, but she doesn't look at me the same, sounds like a woman, same way, and even has made a few jokes about my man boobs. All right. Well, there's guys out there with man boobs that have women. So at first I laughed it off, but then she brought it up in front of her 2 best friends at lunch. And again, I laughed it off, but one friend couldn't stop laughing. This really bothered me. So you have some insecurities about it. You're thinking, oh, I can't believe that she did this in front of my friend or her friends. But the bottom line is, at the core of this is you have man boobs, you're overweight, you're losing confidence, you're insecure about it. So do something about it. Okay. Now, if you were injured in a ski accident, are you able to, people do this all the time. Well, I can't because of my ski accident. You can do things to lose weight outside of hurting that particular area, like dieting, sauna, right? Get creative and resourceful. I couldn't let it go when we got home that she embarrassed me. She just told me to lighten up and that I didn't like the way I looked, then to get my ass back to the gym. Well, here's the thing. When you're really insecure about something like your looks or your weight, you can get triggered by things. Is it cool that she made a joke about it at lunch? I don't know her sense of humor, and I don't know how your relationship transpired. So someone might go, oh, that's ridiculous, she should be more sensitive. But if she's a joker and that's her personality and that's how she kind of is, which it sounds like if she was like, get off your ass and go to the gym, that's her personality, probably. That's not her trying to be a jerk. So keep that in mind. But now if you've played this role where you're like, I can't believe you made these comments about me. It's not, you think pity's attractive. Pity is the poison to attraction for a woman. She said, I still sleep with you and I still love you, but at some point stop using your back injury as an excuse to be fat. Now, again, you're probably telling me this in the story, and this is why it's good to write your story and be honest, thinking that I'm going to be like, yeah, that's messed up. Yeah, all women don't, bottom line is she's telling you how she feels. She also mentioned she still loves you and she still sleeps with you, but your lack of confidence because you're fat is a problem. It hit hard as I've always battled with weight issues. Well, there you go. So what you're doing is as a young kid, you had weight issues and now you're going back to that. You're going back to that. But so this is an opportunity right now to go to work on that, right? So you're being that kid that you were young and had these weight issues. But when she first met me, I was in great shape, but I still thought she went too far. Like I said, talk to 20 different people and some might say, oh, you went too far. Some might be saying she just told you the truth. I think the fact that she said she still loves you, I think it's tough love is what she's saying. Then I got a dietitian and started going to the gym again. So here's the thing.
It worked.
It worked.
It worked.
Right. Sometimes stuff like this, it's a slap in the face to get you to wake up. Then I got a dietitian and started going to the gym. See how you did something more resourceful where before it's back injury. All right, I can't do things with my back, so can I get a dietitian? Yeah. But my back injury got worse, so I stopped. All right, that's completely possible. I'm not going to say you're lying. Then I just felt she totally turned herself off to me. Then I got more needy. Well, that's the problem. If you got more needy, that's what turned her off. She said she needed a break, then basically moved out when I was home, which sort of shocked me. That was 3 months ago. But then about a month into the breakup, we were still talking and got back. But then after a week, she said it was wrong move and that I hadn't changed much, which was okay because I was such a good person, she said. But the things just weren't the same. So we had another breakup. This one wasn't as surprising as something wasn't right from the get-go. Looking back, within days of getting back together, she borrowed a large sum of money from me that still hasn't paid back any. Well, that could be part of it. It certainly could be part of it. I've always said this, and I'll say it again and again. Lending money to your girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, your friend, your colleague, whatever, just anticipate that you might not get it back in a timely fashion. and you are doing it because you want to help them out. If you're doing it for now you're my girlfriend again, this is, a way to get back together, then you're going to be disappointed. Also, again, this is something like if we're in a live coaching session, I don't know her character. So there's certain people, even if you broke up, you're like, oh, I know she'll pay me back because that's her character. Does that make sense? So you've been with her 2 years. Is she the type that's kind of lackadaisical about paying you back? Do you really need the money? Right? Is she going to be like, oh, well, you don't need the money? Does she borrow money a lot of times? There's so many variables to this that's outside of just borrowing the money. Recently, I texted after being in no contact for a month that it was okay that she didn't want to talk again, which is a lie. Whatever you divulge without someone asking you, you're really saying, yeah, no, it is. It's like, Mom, I didn't steal the cookie from the cookie jar. It's like, why'd you say that, son? Because really, you did take the cookie. I never asked you. It's just like, I don't want you to talk to me again, but I do want you to talk to me again. That's why I called you. But that she still owed me money and that I expected her to pay it. So this is your way of, a little bit of a power struggle. She responded with me being so petty and that I should know that she can't pay me back anytime soon, and that as soon as she could, she'd pay me, she would. Well, there you go. Is that true? Did you know that she's not in a position to pay you right back? She said, just send her my bank account that I wanted it in. Now I just found out she's seeing someone else, and I think maybe they were seeing each other. Let me see. She responded with me being so petty. Now I just found out she's seeing someone else. Okay, so here's the thing. You were together for 2 years. You got weight issues. You're starting to go to the dietitian and thing. You found out she's seeing someone else. Don't go around to all your friends and family and colleagues and go, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing this. This is kind of one of those things where you're like, it hurts. Don't be detective. This might be your time to go, I'm done. You're going to compete with the guy? You've already tried to get back together. You got a weight issue. You're a little bit down right now. Recover. Work on your weight. But you're not going to just get her back by asking for money back. And I think maybe they were seeing each other before we broke up, as I know. I think means I don't know. Don't play with that narrative. You don't know if it's true or not true, and it won't help you in any way. As I know the guy, and I always knew he liked her. We have mutual friends. They told me that if it does seem like they have been together for a while. All right, so this is my advice to you that's really going to help you out. Stop asking your friends. Stop checking on her on social media. She's seeing someone else. It's going to hurt you to get any information about this or to see anything about this. So stop the bleeding. Now I'm wondering when I'll get my money and if I should make her admit that she was cheating on me. All right, the money thing's separate than you guys getting back together or her cheating on you. Bottom line is you're not together, so if she was cheating on you, it doesn't matter. She probably won't answer that directly, and do you really want to know? Because let's say you go to her and you're like, hey, I really need to know, were you cheating on me? She says no, she lost respect for you because you came back and asked her that question. She says yes, she lost respect for you. So you even go farther down the hole. Either way. Leave it alone. She's seeing someone else. Stay off all social media platforms. Stay away. Tell friends, I don't want any information on this. It's not going to help you. If you ever were going to get back together, it's not going to be anytime soon. Work on your weight issue. Work on your back injury right now. And you're going to hurt for a little while. I'd recommend booking a live coaching session to get a little deeper on this because it's going to hurt you. But what you're doing is subconsciously you're trying to create other routes. Well, she owes me money, so I'll call her for that. But really, you're being annoying. Okay? You're being annoying. And it's not going to help you get back with her. And you're like, oh, I just want my money back. No, you don't. You knew when you lent her that money that she didn't have the ability to pay you back anytime soon. We have mutual friends. They told me that now I'm wondering when I'll get my money and I should make her admit that she was cheating on me. My friend works out as the guy at the guy's gym and told me he could ask the guy, don't do that, please. Have some balls, some dignity, and I don't know, you didn't mention how old you are, but that's like you're 12. I think I will help with closure if I know. What do you think? No, it won't help with closure. It won't be accurate information.
Dude, that's never a good thing to go into the other guy's, sphere and start messing around. No.
I had one time where I was dating a girl and she was like, we went for a walk somewhere, I think in the park or something like that. And like, when I left, she sent me a message and she was like, oh, were you upset? Did what's his name come see you? I forgot the guy's name or something. I'm like, excuse me? And she was like, oh, my ex-boyfriend was watching us.
What?
I was done. I was done.
Like
I was
stalking?
just, yeah, I was like, I was done.
Yeah,
I was like, I worked with her. We only went out a couple times and she was like, it's okay. He won't do it. I'm like, I've watched America's Most Wanted, hun. Like, no, thank you. Like, I don't want to get involved in that.
Not happening.
No, we only went out a couple times. I wasn't into it that deep anyways. But, you know, it's like, you're the friend that's asking questions. It was her ex-boyfriend.
Dude.
Right? It's pathetic. It's weak. It's clingy. It's not attractive. It doesn't work. And you're just hurting yourself. I think it will help with the closure if I know what do you think. I don't think it'll help. I think if you wanted to get more clarity moving forward, then book a live coaching session with myself. And how do I get my money back? Well, it's not going to be anytime soon. And she said, send me my bank account. And if you want to check in with her once every 2 to 3 months and stay on it about that, just keep it about that. This whole idea where you're going to figure out if she was playing on you or not, you lose either way. You lose either way. You don't win in that. It's like if you find out it's true, you think, oh, now I'll feel better. No. And if you find out it's not true, you don't believe her anyways. Right? She is insecure about his look more than he is. She made a joke with her friends being her too. Well, it's just one of those situations. You can sit around, oh, I can't believe she didn't stick with me because I had a back injury, the weight, whatever. I mean, this is one of those things. We only got a little piece of information here. I don't know all the backstory to it, right? If she said, I still love you. But like I said, some people, I have one of those sense of humors that I joke around a lot. I've had girlfriends like that. And so for a girlfriend to maybe make a comment like that in front of friends, it depends on what kind of sense of humor and kind of relationship.
Are you going back and forth?
Is it out of character?
Yeah, is it out of character?
Right? There's certain people you're like, oh, I'm not surprised they said that, and that's how they interact.
But if they've never done that and then they drop some comments,
right?
And then they're
are you just being sensitive because you changed?
Maybe, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right? So bottom line is, though, you can't. Oh, she's 32 and I'm 31, so that the age is there. Yeah, don't ask your friend to do research for you at the gym. Joey Greco and the show Cheaters had some episodes like that. Supposedly the Cheaters was
staged.
Was that true?
I don't know. I did catch it sometimes when I was like in high school or whatever on late night TV. It was pretty funny, but it kind of looked like it was. That's what I initially thought, but
it's just like Jerry Springer staged.
I honestly have no idea. But
you know what? It's funny because my sister had one of her friends from high school was on Ricky Lake. I remember. Remember Ricky Lake?
Oh yeah,
yeah. And I don't think it was completely staged, but I remember they were saying that the friend that was on it wasn't. It was some kind of relationship thing or something like that. She wasn't as passionate or upset about it as the show made it seem.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like she wanted
they
to be on the show.
dramatize it.
Yeah. All right, we got 13 on deck. Everyone came a little late today, but it's all good. Sabina's money. That's when you loan someone money or you pay for something and they're a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something like that, do it. First of all, do it because you want to do it. Second of all, have enough money that if they don't pay you back, you're not
hurting.
You're not hurting, and you might have to find a reason that it's okay with you
to let it go.
Yeah, I remember years ago I had to give someone. I didn't have to. I should reframe that. Someone had an extreme medical issue. And they called me up to borrow some money that was in a significant amount to me, and I gave it to them because he had cancer, he needed it, and there was nothing lying about it. He was upfront about it, and then I had to give him it again because he had to get another treatment, and he ended up passing away, and it actually put things in perspective because afterwards I went, you know what? It was my pleasure to give him that money, and even though I wanted that money back, that was the deal. I never got very much back from it. I still did the right thing in my eyes. So when you lend someone money, if you can find the right part about it, not, oh, would they lend me the money, or that's the only way you're going to deal with it, because there's a strong chance that you might not get paid back whenever you lend people money. So using that as a way to call them back, because like you probably wouldn't be asking her for the money back if you weren't broken up. And that's why don't lend out money that you can't afford to lend out first and foremost. Right? All right, so we got 13 on deck. If you guys have a story you want to send in or some viewer questions, go to writemac.com. Much appreciated. There'll be some more shorts coming up. Those have been doing pretty well, actually. Some of these quick questions, I kind of like answering them. And the short analysis has been good. 13 on deck. Very weird. I do have one more story. I think we can get into. Let's see if I want to do another. It's a long one though.
Long story?
Yeah, I haven't read the whole thing yet. I was going to do a separate video on this. This just came in. Can you cut it from this live stream? Or no, has to be made separate?
I'm not sure.
If he's letting his girlfriend borrow money, that's it. What do you mean, petty petty?
Like done? Like that's it? Done?
Probably gave her a lot more than he mentioned.
Maybe.
Money's only an issue if it's it's like what I said in the short earlier this week. It's like people don't like that. It's like, oh, pay her rent or pay her car. It's like, is it okay with you?
Yeah.
There's some guys that's their pleasure. They're excited to do that. They have a ton of money.
Yeah.
If they want to do that, it's fine. Being called a simp is a whole nother thing. How well you know that girl and how well you are together.
See, that's where I put the term simp, is like you don't know the girl very well and you're
Just
giving her
trying-
money
yeah.
and whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's simpish.
Yeah, that's very common. I mean,
But if it's your girlfriend or like your wife or like, okay,
I just don't. The thing that gets me about these terms like simp, what's the other one that we went over earlier or something like that? Oh, the chads.
Oh yeah.
Oh, all these terms that have been invented. People go out and start looking for them. So like narcissism's big like that. Oh, this person's a narcissist. Oh,
And then the umbrella gets bigger too. So
the umbrella gets then they're a narcissist hunter.
Yeah. So now
They
this person-
everywhere every week they tell you about a narcissist they met, and it's like, oh, you're a specialist now on finding narcissists and simps. And so to me, it's like you're just looking to be correct. Give their girlfriend money. Don't let her borrow it.
Yeah, she's saying give it to him. Don't.
Man, give
not
their
borrow
girlfriend
it.
money. They don't let her borrow it. Man. Moral of the story, I guess, is to make more money.
Make more money.
Although there's a lot of people out there that make a lot of money or have a lot of money that are stingy or greedy with it. Not everyone.
Isn't that what they say? Like how they get money?
Some people say that, huh? That's how you keep money, I suppose. But you can, like I said in the short this week, I'm like, you can go to all your friends, family, and college. They're just going to tell you what they would do, and they're going to tell you about their situation. It's almost like when you hear someone at a club say, "Can you lend me a cigarette?" Like they're going to give you a one back at the same point. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, like you bum a cigarette and then you're gonna like expect one back. Nah, just you're giving them the cigarette. It's your cigarette.
Have you ever heard the English term for cigarette? English people say fag.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that.
One of my friends in the UK, when I first heard that here in Thailand, because you don't meet a lot of people from the UK and the States, and he was like, "I'm gonna go have a fag." I'm like, "What?"
You never heard that before?
No, in the States,
Yeah.
a fag.
I mean, like just as a general, like.
Yeah, no. Like you've heard that in the States,
Yeah,
someone say,
like-
"Oh, I'm gonna have a fag."
Like when we were in grade school, like we used to make like fun of like, oh, you're gonna have like a cigarette, you're gonna have a fag.
in grade school?
Yeah, like when.
No.
Yeah.
We never used the term fag. Fag was a
like-
slang word for gays, which isn't
yeah,
good.
that's why we said it when we were young, like 12.
But for a
13.
cigarette. I don't even know how that's here. People ask to borrow weed since it's legal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, did you want the cigarette back? Can you lend me? It must be a joke, huh? It's kind of funny because like in California now, not that many people smoke cigarettes.
It's getting expensive.
It's just not. Maybe just growing up in the Bay Area, it's just a lot of people don't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I would say over half the population doesn't smoke cigarettes. It's just not common.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be glamorized like everywhere, you know what I mean? And then
I think when you just couldn't smoke inside too, a
Yeah.
lot of times people. All right, we're running on here. 12 on deck. Send your story into writemac.com if you've got a story you want unpacked, or if you want to send in a question. Take care. I'm running on fumes here. I got to eat. Take care.
later, guys.